I'll take it.
Moving on to our last topic before our voicemails here. It's Mercedes Lewis. He appeared on The Herd with Colin Cowherd on Thursday, so yesterday. And Lewis, obviously, he spoke very highly of Williams. He basically praised his ability to make the hard stuff look easy, because Colin did ask him, and he kind of Cowherd, asked about his inconsistency last year, and Cowherd thought it was a real concern about Williams and his development. And on top of that, it was cool to see Lewis right away defended him. And so he went ahead and said, in his defense, obviously with our offense, which is so funny because he talking about, you just see how dysfunctional it was. But he said, in his defense, obviously with our offense, the firing of coaches midway through the season, it was a lot going on. He was trying to do the best he could. And so for me, I did love seeing Mercedes Lewis, who's not with the Bears, but he's played the last 2 years, but defending Caleb on top of, obviously I think Colin actually does like Caleb Williams, but you could see he was kind of setting him up. You're trying to get maybe some information about maybe how chaotic and a train wreck it really was last year. Yeah,
we know
but
this.
I love Mercedes being able to defend Caleb there. And he talked a little bit more about his game and the fact that he actually did grow. Like, he grew a lot from game one, actually even the training camp, all the way to where we are now. But he did say it was a lot to overcome, even for him, when it came to Shane Waldron. Right? Obviously, when they made that switch, Flus is fired, and then they have Thomas Brown come in. It still wasn't easy because everything was changing. There was so much changing, almost week to week. And I liked hearing Mercedes obviously back him up. But another interesting part here, this is where I wanted to get to, kind of ask you, is he was asked about returning, if he's going to play for his 20th NFL season. So Lewis, obviously, before he did that, he did praise the arrival of Ben Johnson. He thinks it's going to be masterful for Caleb Williams and just everybody, and he wants to be a part of that. He said that as for his own future, Lewis made it clear he wants to play, his 20th NFL season. When asked about his ideal landing spot, he said Chicago. He did not hesitate. He said it would be his top choice. Colin asked him anywhere else, and he said, not really. He did not give an answer. But he said Chicago. He likes the tight end coach. They actually kept him. What's his name? The same one last 2 years. So that's one of the rare people they kept on this staff.
Yeah, him and Hightower, I think.
And Hightower. Yeah. But he said he wants to finish his career in Chicago with Caleb Williams, with this offense, kind of see it through one more year and be that veteran presence for the team. I wanted to I guess I'll start here real quick because it's going to be quick. Mercedes Lewis, if you go back on record, you search – I almost was like, what is this man? He would come in for a play and almost be like a false start.
False start, drop pass.
He would get his snap. I love the veteran presence for him. I just don't see it. I don't see him coming back to Chicago. I don't think it would be a bad thing. I would not hate it. But it would take a roster spot. It would.
It will take a roster spot. Financially, it's a vet minimum. So, like, the money's not an issue. But, yes, roster spot wise.
Yeah.
So, the question is, how much does Ryan Poles weigh having a veteranship in the locker room? Because that's what it is. At the end of the day,
Ryan Poles are, I think, good friends too.
Well, that would make sense, right?
Same age.
So, I mean, they are. They basically are.
Poles might be younger.
Yeah, because look, I mean, he's been through the league for 20 years, and if you watch I know you did, but to our viewers here, if you watch the podcast,
yeah,
he talks about like how he's how he's been able to maintain the 20 years and do it because he always sticks to routine. He shows up. He loves meticulous, all about the grit. Players talk about all the time in all sports or any profession or job. You come in and you see someone who sets the good example. You're like, oh, how was he so good? And you look and you watch what they do or what they do, and you learn from them, right? Especially if you're a new person on the block, right? That's how you learn.